Hey guys, JR here with a very long production log. We're at the venue now, so the first thing we'll end up doing is we'll end up looking at Master Tour and figuring out when the walkthrough is, meet all the local techs, the house guys, give a cursory glance at the venue, find out where everything is, how to find stuff, green rooms, bathrooms, all the important things. And then if I have the opportunity then, I will sit down with the local house audio guy and get the lay of the land of the system, especially if I haven't been advanced. Most of that information is in the advances, but I'll talk about what kind of tunings they've got, processing they've got going on, any nuances with the room, any feedback or tips they can give me for an excellent show, and that sort of thing. And then typically an hour after our walkthrough, we will start unloading the trailer with the stagehands and start getting everything set up. Okay, I'll give you guys a quick walkthrough of the production we have on stage. It is incredibly minimal, not a lot going on. Most of it is DI. So we'll start over here with guitars. Adam, our guitar player, is running through a Kemper rig. It's as simple as that. Moving to fiddle, Sydney, our fiddle player, she is mic'd up with the D'Addario pickup system, and she's running through an LR bags with chromatic overdrive. Clay has some of the coolest tone I've ever heard. He's running direct as well, also running through a Fat Boy tube stage DI, in addition to some of his protein goodies. Terri's guitars are all direct acoustic, but backstage we have her Fender amp running a small pedal board, and that is mic'd with a 57. Terri's got 5 guitar changes. She's got her 6-string, her 12-string, her resonator, which is a cool rig here, and then her Telecaster, and that's the resonator and the Tele are both going through the amp backstage, and we've got one backup. This Gibson is her backup. This Martin is her primary 6-string guitar that she plays. On drums, we have some of my least favorite microphones. Well, I mean, the Shure SM57 is awesome, but we're micing 81s on the hats and the overheads. We've got 91 and the Shure, whatever that is, kick out. Some of the standard Sennheiser drum mics there. They're okay. These do not capture the tone that Chuck or the drummer and I, neither of us like it, but we'll fix that. For us, the band likes to come out just by themselves and run through some things and get their ears set before Terri comes on. So if she wants to sound check early, I've got to be ready an extra half hour early or so for the band to come out and hang out. And then Terri comes out and sound checks, and it's really just an opportunity for them to go through any last minute song changes or band executions, but primarily just to get their in-ears pretty well sorted. She is sensitive to low end on the stage, so we've made sure that I get to make the appropriate changes, either EQ wise or SPL wise, to get the requisite amount of low end that I want out front while still being able to accommodate her on stage. Alex and I have been working really well together to make sure that happens. Okay, I'm going to hand off the rest of this conversation to this man, Alex, who's been with Terri for what, 2 years?
2 years now, yeah.
2 years, yeah. He knows way more about everything that's going on than I do, but he's been awesome at welcoming me in, bringing me on board, and he's been really great to collaborate with on all sorts of good stuff, like I mentioned about, sub volumes on stage. So, Alex.
I'm running the DM7 full size with the expansion. Down here, all the ears are Shure PSM 1000s. And for our instrument wireless, we have on-stage racks of Accent. That, along with my wireless workbench, makes for an easy day. So essentially, I like to lay this out so that I have basically all my drum channels on this fader bank and the rest of my instruments on this fader bank, and I throw my vocals, all 3 of them, right here. Click, and my talkback. So unless I'm going to, somebody else's talkback or audience mics or something like that, I don't have to flip around, which is great, having everything at the tips of my fingers. All my sends for all the artists and my tech are over here on these physical soft keys, because I prefer being able to hover my finger over it rather than use this screen here, where you can't actually feel the button or hover your finger.
I don't even use that panel
Yeah.
ever.
Yeah,
I mean, I guess I could at some point. I just haven't really.
I definitely prefer having them all here.
Yeah, I've got. I didn't tell them this, but I've got. Well, Chris actually, when I inherited the show file, has quick access to the graphic EQs on here. So left, right, subfill.
That's what I remember, some effects and things.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a talk back for a while, and to activate it, I threw that right there to front of house. I also have my vocal swap, input swap right here, so that'll, with one button, change her to her backup mic.
Oh, that I should
really
probably
nice.
do that.
It's
I
handy.
don't have that.
It's handy.
That's gonna screw me over if I don't go change that right after this video.
Yeah, I mean, that's basically my workflow. I don't do a whole lot of fancy stuff. I got a few things on her vocal, but I'm really just a crazy EQ and a little bit of this dialed bridge comp. And I recently added this guy. I was playing around a little bit with
Everybody
that.
loves the 5045.
Classic
Device.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was on there until you mentioned it the other day.
Bro. It's the best.
Basically, all I have to do is connect my console to my racks back here, connect all my power. Front of house snake monitors. We are using these W2 stage boxes into, I think they're 16 channel boxes. There's 3 of them on stage. 2 of them live on the drum riser. One of them is right here by the wireless rack. And we basically have snakes for the band members. We patch into those. Yeah, I set up all my antennas and stuff are in ports and panels back here. Wireless and the vehicle.
And how do you coordinate everything?
So what I coordinate, I do a scan through Workbench. First, I make sure it's seeing everything that should be. Then I use the coordination tab to do a scan, which you can see right there. Today's was very clear, nothing going on here. So I had the pick of the litter. And when I assign and deploy the frequencies, you can see them all here with the different channels they're going to go to. I just like to make sure as many of them as I can get are 3 stars, and that does a pretty decent job of giving me clear wireless through the day. And you can see down here I've thrown the 2 channels that we're not using, because those are the 2-star frequencies. But even if we were using those, I will lock the rest of them and continue to scan and calculate until I can find 3 stars throughout the day.
Nice.
And it usually works.
And it's networked.
Yes, it's all networked through just a dongle here through the rack, and I connect the 2 stage racks together.
What do you work? What are you getting
just
each
a big
member? What do
daisy
they
chain.
want?
Yeah, so essentially, I think through working with each member, doing their monitors, it comes to light much quicker than for front of house what they actually want. A lot of the members like pretty much a studio type mix. There's not a lot of utility mixes.
Is that true, Clay?
Yes,
There's not a lot of click heavy kind of,
because we don't like to play with timing at all.
Right.
So we're all good.
right.
Alex is the man. That sounds awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, so there's just a lot of giving them basically everything. As you can see in these mixes, there's a pretty good range of, that's drums, right? Drums are a lot hotter, whereas Terry's, a good mix of everything. Terry specifically likes a very, studio sounding mix in her ears.
Yeah, I know several times she's been like, "Oh, sounds like a record. This is awesome."
Yeah, and Clay is very much like that too. He likes, he does a lot of studio stuff and really likes it to be pretty full range in the ears, not missing any instruments, and panned.
Panning.
The panning is obviously key with the.
So you're running
the
stereo
ears.
sends for all the artists.
Yeah. So they're all stereo. You can see my mixes tab. Actually, I've dropped a fader out, so I just have a single fader on the surface for each one.
Got it. Yeah, nice. Cool.
Keep it a little more compact.
Right, and then how much do you change during the set?
So since I've been with her for a while, it's literally a matter of maybe a vocal bump and maybe a guitar bump or attenuation at any point during the show, but it's very slight, and not much needs to be done, which is great. Most of the time I'm monitoring the wireless and making sure everything connects when the packs come on and she's about to get handed a new guitar, because we have guitar changes. It's critical that I watch this monitor screen here, and you can see when a pack comes on, you'll instantly see those antennas and you know you are good to go. Very handy.
I am currently sucking down a quad latte from the local coffee shop. Sydney, our fiddle player, is absolutely amazing at finding some of the best coffee in these various cities we're landing at. So, up here at front of house, and let me go ahead and walk you guys through a little bit of what I have going on. It's very, very simple. I have no fancy plugins, no fancy outboard. We're running straight through the Yamaha DM7 console. All my inputs are running through buses. I set up my console with inputs, outputs, and I've got my left-right sub fill over here. There's been one venue where I actually had 6 different sends, but this is my left-right sub fill. I've got my main stereo output, and then I have my iPad music output. So starting with the inputs, kick in, kick out, snare top, snare bottom, 4 rack toms, his rotos, his bongos that are on that, and those are all running into, compared to my mix outputs, those are all running into his drum bus. And I don't really have any, I'm not doing any parallel compression on the drum bus. I do have a limiter on here for a little bit more smack. Then I have just a little bit of EQ on the drum bus. I do have on the snares, and then from there they go into a drum. They're all part of a drum group. That's only my shells. I don't have my kick going in there, and I don't have my overheads going in there. Control everything as a mix with the drum's DCA. On the snare though, I do have snare top and bottom. I do have on the top, I have Yamaha's RevX plugin, which I find has a really nice sound. On the drum bus, I also additionally have a OpenDeck. This seems to be, for me, the DM7's secret sauce right here. I have this on so many different channels and inputs. It just really adds kind of that saturated tape sound. I have them going there, and then I've got an 1176 also on there for a little bit more. So guitar and fiddle and bass are all pretty much straight out of the boxes up on stage. All the band members have at some point during the show come out and listened, and we have tweaked together to get the sound they want after I've done my system tuning. That's super helpful. Can't tell you how grateful they are to be included in that process and not have just a front of house guy who does whatever he wants and mixes however he wants. So obviously part of my job is to translate what the band wants really, really well. So that's what we've done. So I don't have any other additional processing going on on bass, fiddle, or Adam's guitar. Same with the acoustic guitars. Those are all really, really straightforward. Very little EQ. They sound great right out of the box. They want a very clean sound. They don't want me to add really anything to it. And I'm a big proponent of that. Get it right at the source. So I went over and listened to Adam's Kemper for a long time via headphones, came over here and made some adjustments. So there's nothing going on in here. I have a very limited EQ just so it doesn't compete with anything else going on in there. On vocals though, I do have a little bit of processing going on. So all the vocals are running through the Portico 5045 primary source enhancer. I have the hardware version of this, and the only thing the hardware version gives me that this doesn't is that knee transformer. These obviously don't have that digital transformer. There is some emulation there, but it doesn't sound the same at all, in my opinion, as when I run an actual vocal through that. So both background vocals, Sydney and Clay, our bass player, going through that, and then Terry is also going through a primary source enhancer. From there, I take them over to the vocal bus. I've got a lot of processing on the vocal bus. It starts with an 1176, just to give some of that pop, fatness, and presence. followed up with a 5033 Neve EQ. As you can see, I've got some pretty, mostly as a counteracting of what the 1176 is doing. I've got some additional EQ just kind of help make it pop a little bit more and not conflict with anything else. This also adds in kind of a nice flavor to it. From there, I go into a dynamic EQ. When Terri really gets on the vocal, it can really spike my upper mids there. So I like to have a dynamic EQ that when she gets over to a certain threshold, it kind of brings that down a little bit and doesn't really bother anybody. And then from there, I have another instance of the OpenDeck, and you can adjust independently the highs, the bias, and then the highs and the lows on the output, and you can change what tape flavor you're interested in. All of the instruments are coming in minus bass and kick drum, or bass and drums. All the other instruments are coming into the band bus. And on the band bus, I do have just a touch of EQ in the mids there. And then this dynamic EQ is controlled by the vocal bus. So anytime at Terri's primary EQ frequencies. So when she gets on it, it just cuts the band bus kind of right there and just keeps her on top of the vocal, keep everything with this nice, almost not overbearing, but commercially, compressed sound. Just kind of keep it nice and thick there. So that's going on there. Vocals are going through. I have Terri going through the Rev HD plate reverb, and all my lead vocal reverbs always have a really long pre-delay and a really short delay time in almost every case. And the mix on here is only about 50. I've got it mixed in. I think the send is normal, and I'll have to. And yeah, our faders are at 0, so I've got it mixed in just a little bit to kind of get what I want. Still don't get exactly what I want out of this, but you do what you can. The vocal verbs, I have the background vocals and then a touch of Terri going into the vocal verbs, and this is the hall reverb, and again, my delay and pre-delay times are a little bit different based on what I want this particular reverb to do for me there. So all those reverbs are on a dedicated button, so I kill them when they're all talking and hanging out, and the moment they start talking, boom, they're on. That's one of 2 custom buttons that I have on this desk, and I'll show you the rest in a second here. So everything else is controlled by my DCAs. I've got drums, toms for solos, and a couple fills, things like that. Bass, Adam's guitar, fiddle, Terri's electric, her resonator and her electric, her acoustic guitars, 12-string and 6, backup vocals, so Sydney and Clay, and then Terri herself, followed by an overall band bus. And there's at least one song where she almost talks during it, so I duck the band manually so you can kind of hear and understand what she's saying there. And then I've got a separate verbs send, and then my entire PA, my left-right sub fill, is on a DCA. Terri runs a pretty rock-heavy show. At show 3, right before we start sound checked, Clay, the bass player, had me come over and talk to he and Adam, our tour manager and guitar player. And they said, you're the first front of house guy we've had that seems to care and want to listen to what we have to say. So here's how we view the band. And they don't view them as a singer-songwriter acoustic with electric and fiddle as accent pieces. They are a power rock trio. So that acoustic guitar in my mix is quite a bit farther down, and I mix this band far more like a rock band than anything else. So my PA control will take that into account. So as the show gets going and they start ramping up, there's definitely a turning point, and I start bringing the PA up a little bit hotter. Finally, my other custom button is an all-ins mute button. So when this button is engaged, you can see everything's flashing, everything's open. So that's kind of that's what's going on there. So they can practice. The band likes to practice and noodle before the set, and they don't want to come in through the PA. So that's what we do there. I am recording everything via Pro Tools that came spec with the system. Not a fan. Haven't been on Pro Tools since like 2005, and there's just better ways to do it. But this is a rental rig from Spectrum. They did a great job putting it together, and I will use what I got. I am running my own smart rig. It did not come spec with a smart rig, so I brought my MacBook Air along, and I'm running Smart LE for the system tuning piece and sound check, and then I fire up Smart SPL to track the show, and I log all my shows to make sure it's just another way to make sure I'm running a nice consistent show from night to night, and it sounds how it's supposed to sound. During the tuning process, I've got a measurement microphone here for front of house, and I've got a microphone out there on the main custodial area. If I have the ability, I will put up a third microphone in a fill section or a balcony section or somewhere else. We've got balcony fills up here, but they are tied to the main left-right PA, so I didn't do that this time. That allows me to kind of track things at the same time. I can take multiple measurements, do averaging and some other stuff to kind of just get everything really where I want it and how I need it. But during the show, I only use this for measuring SPL at front of house. So as far as order of operations for the day, we do the walkthrough, as I mentioned earlier, and then we end up loading in at the appointed time. I will usually stage my stuff and then come up and help the rest of the guys get some stuff patched on stage as possible. A lot of times my front of house location is set up before the drums are, so I'll get that set up, come out, help mic up drums, get everything sorted there, then go back and start my tuning process on the system.